Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bxb'S Bonus Babble, Episode 5, another E3 special. It's me, your host, Ben, EIC for Bxb Games, and with me today, as always, is my E3 2017 co-pilot, Joel.
Hello.
He's here. We're here. We've suffered through. Well, I suffered's a harsh word. Perhaps I'd say I suffered through Bethesda at 5 o'clock this morning. Definitely, that was some suffering. But I wanted to tell you a secret, Joel. Do you know the secret reason why I've decided to do a daily E3 show here for the website? Do you want to know the secret reason?
Yes.
The secret reason is so I would have a shower every day because we do this on camera.
You're telling me for the 2-week gap between Bits and Bob's episodes, you don't actually wash.
Not so much the 2-week gap between those, but more to do with when I'm staying up till 2 in the morning covering E3. In the past, for that sort of 3 or 4 day stint, I'd basically stew in my own juices. So this way, I'm clean. I'm clean for you, Joel. And I hope you appreciate that. I'm shiny. The beard is oiled today. The hair is washed. Just for you. Just for my co-pilot.
Oh, cheers. Much appreciated. I'm also slightly creeped out.
We've got so much, especially from Xbox. We've got so much to talk about. I suppose we shouldn't dilly-dally too much, should we? Other than to say right now, as we're recording, the PC show is happening. We've had a couple of announcements, a couple of dates. I think it's late August for the new XCOM 2 expansion, also on consoles, which I assumed would have been delayed because of the way they've been doing that. But no, at the same time on Xbox, PS4, and PC, we're getting this new DLC content for XCOM 2. That's cool. That is a great game. That is a fucking brilliant game. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then Total Warhammer 2 in September. But I think like you just said, Joel, didn't you? We knew that already, didn't we?
I think you raised a fair point about the release date, but I've seen loads of media images and stuff of Total Warhammer 2 already. So that wasn't really a big surprise.
So let's get into Xbox. And let's deal with the elephant in the room from the start. Let's talk about the Xbox One X. Announced at the top of the show, though the most important element was left to the end of the show, but we'll talk about that all at once. So basically, as we knew, very powerful, 6 teraflops of processing power, some kind of liquid cooling processor, lots of RAM bandwidth, all kinds of these specs that to even a hardcore gamer like me just means pretty much nothing. All I want to know is that it's powerful, that it's going to look great, that the games will play great. You know, I mean, so you can go into the nitty gritty of the 12 gigabytes of DDR whatevers with the 300 odd gig of bandwidth. I don't give a shit, Joel. I'm sure you probably grasp this because you're more technical than I am in a deeper way. But at the end of the day, does this stuff matter? You tell me.
Yeah, obviously it's quite important. The biggest aspect of it is obviously the chip's powerful. There's bags of memory and stuff in there. It all generates a lot of heat. It will draw a lot of power. All the GPU and the CPU are all on one die, so they're very close together. So all that heat's very concentrated. And what you've got is a vapor chamber cooler, which is basically like, if you know what a heat pipe is, it's kind of a really big, flat, wide heat pipe. It's got liquid in there. The liquid wicks to transfer the heat better into the heatsink. So it's got a lot more cooling power in a lot smaller space, hence why the console's probably quite small, and they've been able to get away with that tiny form factor. And I kind of lost my trail of thought now.
That's fine because tech specs do that to you. I mean, it's not an exciting thing. Let's talk about the form factor. You brought that up. It's a small space. It's actually the smallest Xbox ever. It's smaller than the S, which is frankly incredibly impressive. It's got a nice matte black finish to it. It looks like a little box that will sit innocuously under your TV. And that's fine. I think it's quite a sexy bit of hardware, especially when you compare it to the original Xbox One, which was over-designed and bulky and a bit like a 70s era VCR. It had its own kind of American charm in the way the original Xbox did, I suppose, but it definitely wasn't a sleek piece of modern electronics. So they've gone down that design route with the Xbox One S, and they've progressed now to the Xbox One X. And, that looks nice. So let's talk about, that was actually sort of a segue into that. Let's also talk about the name. Now, neither of us predicted the X for this. I don't love it. It's very easy to get confused. It even sounds quite similar, doesn't it, to the S and the X, the S and the X. I can see some confusion coming up in retail, especially when parents at Christmas are picking up the consoles for little Timmy, and he's asked for the Xbox One X, and mum and granny gets to the store and they ask for, can we have the Xbox One, please? And they're asked which one, and they don't know because they sound very, very similar, and they end up getting the wrong one. I mean, what do you think of this branding? I'm not in love.
I actually quite liked the name. I think particularly because you've got the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X. I think it's kind of nice having that single character on the end. They're very similar in naming. I could kind of agree with you that there's potential some scope for a mistake, but don't forget poor old Timmy's granny will probably have a heart attack at the price, so she won't even get to the point of getting confusion, and poor old Timmy will end up without an Xbox and a grand, I expect. How that story will play out.
You brought some to the price there, but just before I just want to give one clear example that caused a lot of confusion with naming, which was the Wii U to the Wii. That was a whole new piece of hardware, but for the longest time, a lot of people thought it was some kind of, the same product, an expansion to it, and like a connectable piece of hardware that would connect to the Wii. So that caused a lot of problems for marketing for Nintendo, which they've only really got away from now because of the Switch. So I honestly think this could become a bigger issue as we get closer to launch. But you mentioned it.
Well, before you say price, but it could do. But if you think about the PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, I mean, you're not going to get too confused with the names, but it's not exactly clear that one's incredibly more powerful than the other. You may just look at the one and think, oh, it's got more USB ports or something, because the Pro and the Slim's just that'll go nicely in my TV unit. So it's not on both sides of the fence, I guess. It's not exactly clear that one's incredibly more powerful than the other. It's price is the distinguishing factor.
I think, the price is the big difference, but it also there are other issues because the way the S was marketed as the smallest, most powerful console in the Xbox family, and now the X will be marketed in the same way. So I do think that's asking for trouble. But let's talk about that price then. Now, when we were doing the predictions, I think I went on record saying if they go $499, that could be the biggest mistake Microsoft has ever made, and I am sticking to that. They've gone $499 US, it's $449 UK. That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. What do you think, Joe?
So, So the first thing I thought of when I saw the price was the first thing was the way that he delivered the announcement. I don't even think poor old Phil Spencer was particularly happy about that.
He wasn't.
He was literally just like, yep. Oh, it's $499. And now on to something else very quickly. So.
Well, that's why I
don't think he had necessarily the faith in it.
I think you're right. That's why it wasn't right at the top of the show with the rest of the hardware announcement. It was buried at the end, and then the show was actually ended on the most impressive game of the night, as a way, I think, to possibly make you forget that price. And to a degree, it worked for me because I was blown away by what we saw about them. But we'll get to that when we get there in the running order. But yeah, it's a big problem for the average consumer. I'm pretty sure PlayStation is going to tonight at 2 a.m. absolutely put the boot in as hard as they can and probably directly reference this in a snarky, insulting way, which will get a big pop and it will just reverberate around the Twitter sphere. And Xbox is going to have a real problem here. As a hardcore gamer, I was always going to buy this. As a hardcore gamer, I can accept the fact that considering the specs and the internals of this machine, they couldn't probably actually sell it at much less. However, I think they should have taken the hit for the PR and for the marketing. Joel is currently wrestling with his adorable little child, so I will vamp until he can reply. But I do think they're going to have a real problem.
I think at that price, it's a bit too. So the problem I had is that as soon as I saw the price, other than the way it was delivered, the second thought I had was I've got my gaming PC isn't that far away from being 4K capable. All I need is a better graphics card than the one I've got, and I can buy a 4K capable graphics card for less than that price. And a large number of the games are Play Anywhere titles. Does that actually give me a different route? Do I need to buy the Scorpio now? That was an angle I had on it, basically. I mean, we're just talking about PCs a little bit before we came online, but yeah, it's and yeah, the other problem is, Sony are going to have a field day with this. And the other real thing I think I worry about is, particularly with the UK, is obviously with our kind of hung parliament at the moment and a bit of uncertainty, certainly for the next 6 months to possibly a year. I don't think the pound's going to do particularly well, so it's very well going to end up probably ending up near 499 by the time it's actually launched here, which is
don't say that. 449 is bad enough. Jesus.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that increasing, and I think they've actually come out and said, in official channels, UK price 449. If that changed prior to release, that would be really, really bad. But I mean, it's possible. We have seen hardware go up in price. I believe like the Oculus and the Gear and all those kind of things went up post Brexit and stuff due to the weakened pound and things like that. So that is possible. There were a lot of the show after this opening, other than the price, was based around trying to show off a lineup of games that included a lot of exclusives that were a powerful, interesting, diverse lineup of titles, which we're going to get into now. I think, in a way of saying, this is why you want to stick with Xbox. I think does your double child want to put, what does he think about, or she think about the Xbox One?
He's silenced now because I put the iPlayer on in the background now, so he'll be all right. So yeah, sorry, I was a bit distracted there, Ben.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I'm just saying, that let's talk about some of these games. The other announcement from Phil, I guess, was that, and we'll talk about this now. Again, this came at the end of the show. OG Xbox games, original Xbox games, are going to be backwards compatible this year, and you will be able to put in an original Xbox game disc into the system, and it will work exactly the same way as the 360 stuff is working. But you'll also be able to obviously buy them digitally from the store, and that got a big pop. Lots of positive reaction to that in the crowd. I'm not sure exactly who's clamoring for that. I mean, I think it's a fun little addition, but at the same time, is it needed? Do we need this?
Maybe we don't, but I think it's the power of you've got the Xbox, and now literally you've got all your games. You've got backwards compatibility all the way back to the first console, and as the roadmap stands going forwards, all your games. It's no other console has it. Sony certainly won't be able to achieve it. The technical differences between the PlayStation 3 architecture and the PS4 just mean it's outright impossible. It's not impossible, but the amount of effort to do it would far outweigh the gains for them, and it competes with their PlayStation Now service, the streaming system they've got instead. It's an incredible message. I mean, I've still got my original Xbox is actually still hooked up to my TV, and I've still got all my games on on my shelf in the background, and I'm actually thinking. What'll happen is I'll they'll launch it. I'll pop some games in. I'll go, wow, this is incredible. And I'll probably play them for about half an hour and then just roll on because there's so much other stuff. But yeah, I think just to have your entire library and that now attached to my live account and just forever to go forward is kind of cool. I think from that aspect, it kind of means to me I could hopefully put my original Xbox away. Now, if only there was a way to get the save games off the Xbox hard disk and get them into the cloud, so that could all carry forward. That would be the icing on the cake for that. But I thought it was we predicted it. We thought that might happen, and yeah, I think that's kind of a really good positive thing. I think it completes the whole backwards compatibility compat story for them now. They've just got to get all the games in there.
Yeah, the games are coming thick and fast, so I don't see an issue with that. Of course, let's also remember the OG Xbox games, all their servers have been turned off. So does that mean we're maybe going to get, multiplayer turned on for some of those classic titles, like the Splinter Cell games, which had those great multiplayer modes, and obviously Halo 2 and other titles like that? Do you think they're going to return to Castle Wolfenstein? Do you think they're going to switch them back on? I mean, if you're going to put them back out on a digital storefront, I feel like they have to, don't they?
It's hard to tell. I don't know. Obviously, like a recent event was, everyone can remember the old GameSpy system that went away recently. A lot of people that basically broke multiplayer for a lot of games because that was basically acting as a kind of find a game, find a server kind of matchmaking system for the whole thing. And lots of games depended on it. Even games you didn't even realize used it. It was just in the background behind the scenes. Now some PC games patched their way out of it. Like Borderlands 2, I think, was an example that was on the PC that depended on Bxb'S. That was patched to use different system. And I can't help but wonder all the way back then if the original Xbox may have been dependent on some of those kind of services before Live was, although it did launch at the end of the kind of Xbox's life. It was, I don't know if it was used by every game or not. It's so I think there may be some big technical challenges. So I wouldn't expect it. Halo 2 is possible though. I would expect that they could possibly do that. They'll go dust off some old server somewhere and turn it back on, and then see if they can find a tech to figure out how it works and get it going again. But yeah, they could do it for some games, but certainly not all of them.
Well, and on that, I think we're going to have to start moving forward because we've got a lot of games to hit upon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quite quick here, Joel. If there's something you want to throw out there about the game, by all means. If not, I'm going to... Yep. There's a lot we don't know about a lot of these games anyway, but we need to, we've got an hour limit on this show, so we're going to get moving. Right, so straight out of the gate, we got what we both expected in our predictions, the big show-off in 4K for Forza Motorsport 7. Looking lovely, lots of dynamic weather effects. They showed they had a car on the stage, a Porsche of some kind, and I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. Now, one of the things I want to mention is in the auditorium, they had a really massive, amazing 4K display, and I was seeing all the reactions from the press that were there, how amazing these games looked running on the Xbox One X. Obviously, we're on our 1080p streams if we're lucky, and especially considering the Mixer stream, which was the 4K stream, was incredibly unreliable last night, had lots of technical problems. I was on Twitch, so yeah, I'm not seeing 4K, obviously. So, even without that, these games pretty much universally look stunning. Forza looks stunning. I'm assuming you agree.
Yeah. They'll no doubt look impressive. I have got a 4K TV, and an Xbox One S and everything, but I have to sit upstairs. So my wife was using the main TV last night, so I couldn't enjoy it. It's rumored 4K streaming. It would have been interesting to see how it looks.
But you can get a chance, mate, to watch the on-demand version using Mixer, and if that's on a 4K on-demand version, do let us know when we do bits and bobs at the end of the week. If things blew you away, I'd be really curious to find out, how that looks. Now we went on to the first sort of surprise, I would say. Nobody predicted this. I'm pretty excited to announce, I guess, that Metro Exodus is coming, which is a new open world Metro game from the makers of the first two Metro games. Have you played the Metro games, Joel?
No. I know of them. I've not sat down and played the Metro games though. So there's been many times where I've nearly purchased Dying Light, and
Dying Light.
It's got a very killer co-op mode.
Last Light. Dying Light is not a Metro game. It is a great game with a co-op mode, which is amazing, but it's not a Metro game.
Right. Yep. Okay. Ignore I ever said that.
I don't want you to get confused because you should buy them. They are brilliant. They are genuinely, because there are shooters, but they're survival horror games at the same time. There's a real kind of Eastern European Soviet vibe to them because obviously where they're set, but also because of where they're developed and the source material they're based on. They don't feel like your usual Western shooter. And Metro Exodus, I thought, had a really good showing, lots of gameplay. In that world, you're still playing as. I was so happy when she put out her hand and calls his name Artyom, and I'm like, yes, it's Artyom from the first two games. I'm hyped about that. He's back. What's that going to mean for his character in the story? I had no idea this was coming. I didn't, in my wildest dreams, predict a new one of these. So I'm hyped to see that game, more of that game, and I can't wait to play it. After that, we rolled on to the first gameplay trailer that anybody's seen for Assassin's Creed Origins. Now, I was talking about Assassin's Creed Origins, the prediction show, talking about how I wasn't feeling the Egyptian vibe. They won me over, Joel. I thought that looked cool as... Yeah, really cool.
I looked at it. I thought, oh yeah, this kind of. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in ages. It kind of, I should go back and play one. And then it's kind of cool. Like I guess you've got the bird and you can scout ahead and sort of see stuff and things.
Stuff and things. Lots of stuff and things in Egypt. That's what you get in Egypt.
Yeah. I guess the one big kind of thing that came out of it was at the one point after he killed the guy, he was like, oh, that's a nice bow. And then it looked like it's obviously going to be a different equipment system. I don't know if they've had something similar in one of the recent Assassin's Creed games. So that seems new, a sort of new level of depth there. So
the way that interface and the loot was very Destiny. And the combat was quite witchery. Like they've tried to do a bit of a redesign on the look of it. And what I thought there was the brilliant. You mentioned the bird, the eagle. Famously, the assassins have always been strongly connected to that eagle vision, the jumping off of the points with the eagles on it, to give them a historical connection to that and actually make that a gameplay element. I like the synchronicity of that. I really dig that. Also, that it looked pretty as all hell, and I thought the setting actually won me over with the vibrancy of it and the color of it and how it felt quite different to the Assassin's Creed games we'd had of late. No, I'm pretty hyped, man. I'm feeling it.
Didn't you just love the way that he spent so long sort of sneaking in, killing everyone off, like plotting his perfect route, and then as soon as he got in there, it's just like, oh, I'm just going to run in and kill that guy now, and like had to fight his little heavy, and then obviously had to get him whilst he was running away. But that's a true Assassin's Creed game, isn't it?
I love the way they present those games, because they always try to act like there's stealth in those games when I don't know anybody that plays them like that. You do just run in, hit counter, and stab a lot. I mean, that's how you fight Assassin's Creed. You don't need to be stealthy. So it made me laugh to see him doing that whole kind of fake stealth thing in that demo, because that's totally unnecessary. Okay, moving on. Console exclusive, at least for a while, and it will be out before the end of the year. I am excited about this because I've been watching a lot of people play this game on streams, wishing I had a PC good enough to do it justice. And that's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, as I like to call it, is coming to Xbox One. That's cool, man. I can't wait to get in on some of that battle royale action. That's going to be good.
Looks good. I've never played it as well, and it's always been one of those things that I've heard people talk about a bit, and sort of like, I should give that a go at some point. And yeah, maybe this is the kick up the arse I need to get down and give it a try.
As someone who runs a video game site, I feel like I'm remiss in not doing a weekly stream of playing that game and being shit at it, because every other outlet on the planet has a regular stream of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds right now. Like, literally, there isn't a video game outlet that isn't doing that, except Bxb'S Games. That's what sets us apart. We're unique, people. No PUBG streams here.
We do not follow trends. We go our own way.
Yes, we make trends, Joel. We don't follow, we make them. All right, and at this point, I started to have a bit of a heart attack because the game started coming at such a rate that I was struggling to grab screens and post tweets while also watching the screen and the stream. It got crazy, and it basically didn't slow down from here.
Yeah.
So we got Deep Rock Galactic, Dwarves, Space, a little bit of Minecraft, and combat. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know anything more than that about that game. It looks okay.
I did pick up whilst watching it that it sounded to me like there were quite a few movie quotes from Starship Troopers as they were banting between each other, particularly at the bit where they seemed to be suddenly overwhelmed by a massive anti kind of weird creature thingies.
Yeah,
like
they looked a bit like the creatures from like small versions from.
Yeah. I was wondering if anyone else picked up on it.
It's a dirty bug planet. They're obviously that's all set on Klendathu. There's your Starship Troopers reference, if you get it. After that, we got, I really liked State of Decay, right? And I was a bit underwhelmed by this demo of State of Decay 2. First of all, it was kind of poorly paced. It wasn't a particularly well cut together trailer. And then it just seemed to show more of the same sort of like boss zombie types we got on the first game. And very similar gameplay, very similar base management and mechanics. And obviously there's the 4-player co-op, but that wasn't really even stressed in this demo. I feel like this was the single player demo. And it just felt like more of what we'd already got. And it didn't get me excited for it. I know it'll be good because the first game is great. But have you played State of Decay, Joel?
No, I haven't. So when I was watching it, I was just like, oh, is this a new kind of zombie survival IP? Or is it a sequel to something? Then yeah, it obviously came up and revealed that it was State of Decay 2. That's
another game I recommend, mate. I mean, they re-released it on Xbox One because it came out towards the end of the life cycle on 360. And the Xbox One version is a much less buggy experience and really benefits from the beefier hardware. And it's got a really cool community management sort of level to it where you have to find a base and manage the resources and go out and scavenge and actually, it's like a proper zombie survival simulator. And that's what this looked like again, For better or worse, it looks like it's very much in the same mold. It didn't thrill me. I think I was a little bit more excited when watching it live than I am now because I've gone back and watched it and I was just like, I could just play State of Decay now. I don't need to wait for this. And the fact that it's not coming out until spring next year, considering it was meant to be out this year, and I'm just sort of like, wow, what's it getting delayed for? All right, more games. Darwin Project was next up, which looks like, again, some kind of esport-focused battle royale game. The best thing about this, I thought, was the dude shoutcasting who made the EA guys from the previous night look like the amateurs they were. So I quite enjoyed this.
No, I did enjoy that commentary that he was going on through the whole thing during that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a bit like Overwatch meets PUBG, doesn't it? I don't know more than that right now. I know there's some information out there, but I haven't had a chance because I've tried to fit some sleep in today before podcasts and more conferences coming later. Minecraft is still a thing, and because Microsoft owns it, they will always mention it because it makes them a lot of money. There's going to be a 4K patch. It's going to have a big graphics overhaul that's going to make you look extra sexy on the Xbox One X. Cool.
I laughed at that. Oh, did you not find it? It's like you look at Minecraft and it's like with their sort of 16 pixel by 16 pixel textures on the slapped on the side of everything, and then they're like, look at our 4K update, and they've updated it to like 64 pixel by 64 pixel stuff. I get it. It's kind of thematic and it looks slightly better. And there was like, everything.
God rays.
The lighting. Yeah, they've done huge differences on the lighting and stuff. You could see the difference there, but it was still kind of funnier the way obviously the super duper graphics pack, as they called it. The other real good thing about that was it was like play anywhere to the extreme, wasn't it? They're going to basically the whole back ends are going to be unified, so you can play on the Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation. You all play on the same servers together and stuff, so you can basically true cross-console platform play. I guess it's quite cool.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I mean, that is an acknowledgement of the universality of Minecraft, and I dig that. And they're like, we're not. No artificial barriers. We're tearing them all down. You're going to play. You better play with everybody everywhere, and that's great. I'd like to see that with all games. Really, any multi-platform game should be like that. That'd be the future. Next one, I had one thought when I watched the announcement trailer for Dragon Ball FighterZ, and that thought was, "Oh boy, Mark is going to be hype." And that was literally all. Friend of the website, Mark, who also did the wrestling podcast with us. On the couple of times we've done it, he's a massive DBZ fan, and I know nothing about DBZ other than that he is a massive fan of it, and that's all I knew when I watched this. It looked like DBZ, and I think fans will probably like it.
Yeah, so I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. I love it. I can quote large portions of the television series. I've watched it many times over from a kid all the way up to adulthood. So I love Dragon Ball Z and stuff. The only thing I don't like is fighting games, mainly because I just generally suck at them. So it was fantastic to see the animation. Everything looked pretty, really pretty authentic. It looked like quite coolly done. But I was just sitting there going, oh, it's a fighting game. Damn. Hoping for that. Just give me a Dragon Ball Z RPG or something.
Well, I tell you what though, Joel, if Injustice 2 has proven anything, it's that you can still have a lot of fun with a fighting game and suck at fighting games. So it doesn't necessarily mean you won't have a good time playing it.
Yeah, I'll just get Mark to carry me through it if we have to, because they said you couldn't have 3 versus 3. So
it looked insane. I couldn't see what was happening. It was just like explosions and energy effects, and looked like Marvel versus Capcom up to 11. Absolutely nuts. We then got this trailer that rambled on for a bit before revealing what it was, and I was like, oh, fantasy. It looked a bit like an RTS at one point. And this is Black Desert on Xbox One, which is this MMORPG which has been out for a while on PC. The only thing, tell me if I'm wrong, Joel, the only thing I can remember about hearing about Black Desert was when it first came out on PC was that there was some controversy around the female characters and then what they wore and how it was basically massively objectifying them and sexist and disgusting. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I might be, but I feel like that's all I can remember about Black Desert. I don't know if you know any more about it and remember any of that, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
No, I hadn't come across it until yesterday, and I'm trying to just get some screenshots up of it. I'm fighting with my son for time at the computer. Oh yes, yeah, no, I can. I think I suffered the same problem as you did yesterday. It's like literally so many games just being fired off. You're trying to take some notes as you go along, just trying to capture your first impressions and thoughts and things, and suddenly it's just going too fast. But yes, I can see from all the screenshots on the quick image search that I can see your exact point. It does look very much like that, Ben. Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember. I think that's what I remember hearing about it back in the day when it was a thing on PC. People talking about that. It's got amazing character customization, but that just basically meant lots of half-naked women everywhere. So great. I guess if you enjoy that, that's cool. I mean, at the top of the show, Phil Spencer did say 44 games, 22 of which, or something like that, were exclusive. So, you know, they did warn us there'd be a lot of games in this show. So I can't really complain too much about being almost destroyed by the speed of them. We then got The Last Night, which seems to be a hugely sort of Blade Runner-esque inspired cyberpunk dystopic future 2D side-scrolling adventure game, though it might be a little bit more of a combat in there as well. Had a great visual style.
That just looked incredible, didn't it? It looked.
It did,
so I was watching that, just literally, just as a kind of big fan of pixel art, just thinking, yeah, this is a new kind of unique-ish looking pixel art experience. This looks incredible. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of that and getting to play it.
Some controversy today about it, though, that once this got announced, people dove into the developer's Twitter account and found out a lot of pro-Gamergate remarks from a couple of years ago. So that's good to know. He's a bigoted idiot. Brilliant. Though there has already been a statement at this point, in fairness to him, saying he's grown up a lot since and his views have changed. So good for him, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure we'll hear a lot about that in the coming days. But you have to sometimes ask, don't you, though, Joel? I mean, yeah, games are made by more than one person. Should that person's personal views affect, you know, your interaction and enjoyment of the product? It's a difficult one.
Yeah, we brought this up before, didn't we? Specifically, I can't remember what were we talking about before. And yeah, it was in one of the earlier podcasts we did. Yeah, I can't recall. You covered the same topic before, and yeah, it's a bit difficult because it depends on what the IP is really and how much you want to play it and things. It shouldn't do, and you should never really let what a single individual's. You know, maybe if one person had worked on it solely. And you had complete disagreement, then yeah, sure, vote with your wallet, kind of thing, or you know, just stick to your guns, you know, your beliefs and things. But yeah, and if it's just one bad apple in a big bunch of people who've worked on it, I don't think it's fair on everyone else. And if you want to play it, just get your enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We move on now to another, I thought, strikingly visual idea Xbox title, which was The Artful Escape, which seemed to focus on some kind of music-based platforming game. I mean, the guy had an electric guitar and was like jumping around with these crazy light effects again with like a strong purple neon palette. He seemed like almost like the main character was like David Bowie-esque kind of like, I don't know, rock god that's going to save the universe in some science fiction setting. It looked, I can't even describe it. Go to the website now. Go down through the trailers. They're all up there on bxbgames.co.uk and watch that trailer. It's super weird, but I love weird indie games, so bring it on.
I had the same thing. I wasn't. Is this like a rhythm game? Do you even interact with it? Is it dependent on like using a guitar controller to get the characters to move? I got no idea. It looked pretty. It looked certainly like it aroused my interest, and I want to go and find out some more about it to see what it is. It could turn out that it's something I know I won't like, or it could turn out to be something interesting and new. You know, these indie guys do great stuff sometimes.
Yeah, well, your son didn't like it, so that's it. You're done. No, exactly. Couldn't agree more. Let's move on to Code Vein, which is this new hardcore action game. I think sort of Souls-inspired, lots of difficulty to it. Fast-paced combat. I believe it's to do with vampires, and it's incredibly Japanese. One of those. Don't know if you have any more to add to that, but I kind of started to glaze over when I saw that trailer.
I think I may have missed this one, so let me just get some.
To be fair, if you looked away from the screen for 30 seconds, you could have done. You know, it's like there were so many games at this point in the show, and they were coming so fast. Like you just kept on coming up, world premiere, exclusive to Xbox, and I was just like, just give me a minute. I was literally screaming at the screen, slow the fuck down, like this, and they just refused to. It was intense. It was intense. But yeah, feel free to bring it up again if you wish after you've done some research. But I'm moving on. I'm not stopping. We then got Sea of Thieves, an extensive demo narrated by Simon Pegg in a very humorous way. I thought there were some great sort of fourth wall breaking, knowing kind of references and nods as this demo played out. And what I thought was the best thing about this demo, though, it gave a real good sense of what playing Sea of Thieves would actually be like. Not just this vague sense that we've had before of, you know, pirates on the high seas getting treasure, but a real good idea of there's more depth to it. There's going to be some levels to it. There's going to be some complexity to that experience. What did you think of this? Because I know you're quite excited for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I love these kind of what look like they'll be great LAN party games. Yeah, so I thought it looked really quite cool. I thought that water looked incredible, considering all the cartoony and sort of other simply kind of fun, approachable graphics of the rest of it. The water looked pretty serious and pretty nice. Yeah, it looked genuinely like it would be good fun. And I love the idea of just how ridiculous having, it's got sort of like a realistic element with regards to, you have to man one thing and operate it and stuff. And you've only got a crew of 4 people to try and run a pirate ship. I think it looks kind of bonkers, funny and crazy. And I'm looking forward to playing it.
Loving the whole ability to shoot yourself out of a cannon.
Yeah. It's brilliant to board the other pirate ship.
That was cool.
And you mentioned no, you didn't. I can't remember the melee combat part. The you can board and actually fight them now and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yes, and it's. I think we've got a tentative date of spring 2018 as well. So it's coming along, and I hope they do this because they've got the alpha test and it's moving into a beta technical test. And I hope maybe we get like a soft launch and an open beta that then rolls into the game and stuff like that. It'd be very interesting to see how they monetize this, because the way they're testing it feels very free to play. But there aren't any kind of microtransaction hooks as far as I know. So I feel like it's going to have to be a boxed retail release, but I am curious as to how they're going to roll up to that release. After that, we got a brief trailer. That's basically stuff we've already seen because it's just around the corner now. Fulbright's new game. There's the sequel, but not in any kind of narrative way. To Gone Home, one of my all-time favorite video game experiences is Tacoma, and it's out in August, just a couple of months away. I am pumped to play that. It's got some really interesting mechanics where I've seen people playing it, how to do not manipulating time, but like manipulating these almost AR recordings to try and investigate what's happened on this space station in orbit of the Earth. And I think, considering how amazing Gone Home was, how mind-blowing that was a few years ago, I've only got hype for this. I'm just pumped to see what they do with Tacoma.
Yeah, I thought that one looked quite interesting as well. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of it. The setting, the idea, like being stuck on a space station by yourself, I think sounds pretty cool. So,
no more. Moving on. After that, we got a 2.5D platformer. At first, I thought it was the 3D platformer, and I was just like, no, have you not learned that 3D platforms are shit? Stop trying to bring them back. They suck. They are not good. Richard did not like Yooka-Laylee, and if Richard didn't like Yooka-Laylee, I think it's fair to say that that's a bad idea. Don't do it, because he just loves the 3D platformers. So if that's not good, stay away. You did a 3D platformer review as well recently, didn't you?
Yeah, it was Skylar and Plux I played, which is available on Xbox, PS4, and PC. Yeah, it was. To be fair, the game wasn't overly too bad. It was just, I think it had failed to really hit the vision that the developer had for it. It seemed to have lots of. It seemed to be completely unfinished, I guess. But they obviously had greater visions and ideas, and they were trying to borrow loads from the thing. I quite enjoy those 3D platformer games. I love playing the original Banjo-Kazooies and those kind of things. Looking forward to playing Yooka-Laylee. I've still not done that, so hopefully Richard's wrong.
Well, I don't have any historical love for the 3D platformer. So when I thought this was a 3D platformer, I got very worried, and then I realized it's more of a 2.5D platformer. So more locomotion seems to be left to right, but the environments give a sense of depth and interactivity to them, which is great. It looked cute enough. I did think the opening for it was so like, this is Conker. Oh my god, it's Conker, and then it's nope, haha, got ya. We aren't doing Conker ever again. And I was watching Twitter's reaction as it was happening live. People just freaking out. Oh my god, it's Conker! Oh god, oh you wankers! It's some fox.
Now
we don't want this.
Conker would be great, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll save him for when they maybe really need him, or that someone's proven that there's enough of an appetite for a 3D kind of adventure game again.
Conker may be the anti-hero you want, but he isn't the one you deserve. Not yet. That's hilarious. I like the idea that they're keeping him in reserve for when things are really bad. You'll use Conker to dig Xbox out of a hole.
that's hitting. That is, I've written the date down for this one actually. So it's a Play Anywhere title as well, and it's hitting launch date for Scorpio of November the 7th. So that's going to be one of the launch dates. the looks of it.
The other launch title, November 7th, and we got, I thought, a hilariously framed trailer with a live action sequence with none other than Terry Crews, legend of comedy and action. I love Terry Crews. God, I love Terry Crews. Amazingly Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And he's a massive video game fan. So it was really cool to see him doing this Crackdown trailer. And Crackdown 3 is coming also on November 7th with the Xbox One X. Well, when we got to the actual gameplay of this, I was a bit like, oh, that looks a lot like I remember Crackdown 2 and stuff looking like. Did you get that sense that it wasn't really a next-gen title almost? It just felt like something I'd already seen.
Well, most of the games they've shown didn't, Forza aside, I would say, look like they were anything that required Scorpio when you're thinking about what they're trying to push and next-gen and stuff. It looked quite stylistic again. I think most of the games they showed all had a unique kind of style and feel about them, which I thought was quite nice. And I thought Crackdown was very similar. I thought it looked pretty cool.
It just looked like Crackdown 2. I mean, it's still got that very distinctive 2D, sort of like 2D on 3D cell shaded style to it. And obviously they couldn't do a Crackdown and for it not to look that way. But the problem with that cell shaded style is that it holds back what you can do with something to make it look visually impressive, because you can't do photorealism. You can't, you have to keep it in that style. And I just felt like it was a little bit underwhelming, I suppose. It looked like a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of fun in multiplayer. That's going to be great. But, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, just to counter that, though, I think with cell shading, you've got to... I always think back to Wind Waker as kind of the benchmark for, truly great looking cell shading. It's incredible. And even when they did the HD remake, it just looked incredible. They didn't have to do any work on the graphics at all, just scaled perfectly. It's that was just full of style and cartoony looks and effects, and that's what looked incredible. Whereas Crackdown's kind of like it's like Borderlands would suffer from the same problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, at some point we will get a new Borderlands, so I'll be very curious to see what they do with that. But moving along rapidly, sad news now. It's going to be the last E3 we ever see Cuphead at, because it's supposedly actually coming out in September. Who would have thunk it?
That looks amazing.
Yeah, but I've played it, and I did not like it. So unless it's changed a lot since I played it 3 years ago, it looks good, yeah, but once you get past that, it's a pretty standard sort of 2D shooter. Like, it's fine, I suppose.
So you think style over substance then?
A little bit, yeah. But when I played it, it was still the boss rush game, and now I believe it's got a full side-scrolling 2D platforming world to it. So I believe they fleshed out the experience a great deal. However, that doesn't excite me either. So I guess we'll see when it comes out in a few months' time. After that, we had a sizzle trailer for even more Idea Xbox games, which I'm not going to go through right now. But if you want to watch the trailer, it's on the post at Bxb Games. And it just kept on coming. We then got a fairly long trailer of Ashen, which was shown at last year's E3, and it looks like it's kind of going to be a stylistic 3D action RPG. I got a Dark Souls vibe from it, a very sort of severe, harsh fantasy world with sort of maybe a punishing difficulty to it. Everything felt very overwrought and very emotional, and I thought the trailer looks beautiful. The game looks stunning. I can't wait to see what that actually is, though, what the game of that is. We then had the Life is Strange reveal. Now, I don't know, Joel, have you played much Life is Strange?
No.
Fair enough. I've only played the first episode. So I was looking at this going, cool. I know there are fans. Sure, cool. She's a character from the game in the first season, or the first sort of set of episodes. She wasn't either the main character. She's a side character. The person you're playing as Life is Strange before the storm. It's Rachel, which might mean something to you, people listening and watching. It means very little to me. I believe I met her briefly in the first episode of the game, and frankly, I remember nothing about her. So cool. I do, however, know this is they're meant to be amazing. Life is Strange is meant to be fantastic. Everybody raved about that a year or so ago. I don't know. Too much going on, Joel, you know? I like shooting things too much. I haven't got time for this touchy-feely teenage girl lesbian love story stuff. I don't have time for that. We've got to blow things up. Come on, man. Got to blow stuff up. You're just not going to say anything, are you, Joe? You just don't want to get the.
No, well, I've not played it, so I feel that I haven't got too much to add to it. Maybe they'll add explosions in this one for you.
I hope they do.
You know, Phil Spencer's been listening to them. You know what the community have been saying, and maybe this is what he'll like. Literally, this will be the turnaround where you literally just open your bedroom drawer, pull out the pistol, and go for it. He's
going to go on a murder rampage, just kill everyone. It's a prequel, I can tell you that.
Oh, right. Oh, that already plays. That means my plan's probably not going to happen then.
Probably not. Maybe it was in a different town. She moved. I don't know. After that, we got a large portion of Shadow of War gameplay. And all I could think while I watched this was, I don't want to watch you play this. I want to play this. I want to play this right now. I fell in love with Bruce the Orc. And I want to find him and make him my best buddy. And then I want to go and murder lots of other orcs. I really want to play that game. It looks like so much fun. The first game was excellent. And this seems to be taking all of those mechanics and ideas and turning it up to 11. And that's what you do with the sequel. And it looks great. Have you played the first game, Joel? So far, I'm striking out a lot with these questions. You have played that one.
I have played the first one extensively because I absolutely love that free flow combat system in those games. And the problem, I never completed the game because literally it was, it's a little tough to start with Shadow of Mordor, but eventually you just become so overpowered. It's so fun to just throw yourself in the middle of a huge number of enemies and just batter your way through them. And I did that for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and then had my fill and left. I completely forgot that there was another game to complete there, really, actually. The Nemesis system was really cool as well, playing around with that, working on getting your guys promoted to the top of the chain. Brilliant. So looking forward to another stab at something new with that. The sort of building up your army and then getting them to do these huge assaults look like it could be quite cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, looking forward to that.
So that we then got the touchy-feely section. We got the Ori and the Will of the Wisps trailer. Now, I played that first game, not that much, because that game was beautiful, emotional, but balls hard. And because it's so hard, I didn't get that very far. I bounced off of it, but I can totally appreciate the artistry of it. And there's something about the way these guys cut a trailer, the music, the visuals, the beats of it. I was nearly in tears. It might be because it was getting quite late. And I was getting emotional because of that. But no, I thought it looked stunning, and I can totally understand the desire for more of that world. So yeah,
I love the way they got. I love the way they got Gareth Coker and actually had him playing the piano there and then, just to really get the emotional vibes. As soon as the song plays, it's like, oh, I know exactly what this is going to be. Yeah, brilliant. So looking forward to that.
This was the point where Phil came back out on stage, dropped the price bomb, which broke my heart a little bit. Also mentioned that, there's going to be a lot of free patches available. I find it's weird that they stress the free aspect. Yeah, fucking right, it's free. They're going to be patching a lot of the Xbox One's games, to be 4K resolution to get the most out of the Xbox One X. That's great. I also heard today confirmation from CD Projekt Red that Witcher 3 is going to be one of those, which made me incredibly happy. Especially as they said they weren't going to bother doing that for the PS4 Pro because it was too much work. One thing that Microsoft and Xbox are great at is making these tools a lot easier to use for developers. And so hopefully that's going to be a simpler process, and we're going to get that, for almost all the games, I suspect, which is fantastic. So price bomb hits, my heart breaks, but then BioWare comes out. Mr. Grey, as I will always refer to this guy from the EA press conference, is back out on the stage to introduce us to gameplay from Anthem. And frankly, watching Anthem on the stage, on the screen, was like, this is the 4K gaming game. This is the game that shows this generational difference. It's not going to be out until at the soonest the end of next year. However, even in 1080p, the resolution, the character models, the density of the environment, considering it's an open world, everything looked and seemed to play like the ultimate fantasy of what I wished Destiny was. It looks unbelievably good, and I am beyond excited to see what that game actually is and becomes in the next year or so, in a year and a half. If it is anywhere near as good as the promise of that vertical slice, well, that's your reason to own the Xbox One X, isn't it? Right there.
When the video started, they started showing the gameplay. All I was thinking about is like, I wonder what Ben's doing. Is he like going, oh, like screaming with excitement and stuff? Because I could imagine that this is going to be for you. And yeah, I've watched the trailer a couple of times now. Obviously, I watched it live, and I just wanted to go back and recollect my thoughts, because obviously, yeah, this is EA. They're going for Destiny. They want their own slice of that market, basically. Yeah, every part of it, all the detail, I think I could ascertain. It was virtually like Destiny. It seemed to be that they went through. There was a public event that they encountered, that they dealt with. There were sort of various aspects of side bits to go exploring that they were like, yeah, we'll wait for our team later. So they're going to be the kind of story missions, or the sort of strikes and raids and things. I did notice at one point where the Colossus guy comes down and he's got his little mortar and they use it to blow a guy up, that it left a huge crater, actually. So it looks like they may have proper like deforming of terrain and stuff in the actual public areas. It'll be interesting to see if that carries through, because that could be really cool. Just imagine having huge public events and things where just everyone's mortaring and just leaves this huge, just devastatingly trail of destruction that you come across a big, oh my God, what the hell happened here? So that could be pretty decent. I agree with you. It looked amazing.
Lush. Just lush,
like dense and all of those kind of things. And the detail as well. Yeah, it was dripping with it. It was beautiful.
The lighting, the storm at the end of it, the kind of the whole rocket packing around the environment, going underwater, the action, the enemies, the character models. It almost seemed unbelievable. It almost seemed like this is a target render that they'll never achieve. But at the start of the demo, they say it's in-game footage. And it's like, if you're not full of shit, EA/BioWare, if this is genuinely what you're achieving right now, in a year and a half's time, you can have all my money for this game, and Mass Effect will be forgotten and forgiven. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, I know I'm talking in hyperbole right now, but it was an incredibly impressive demo. Incredible.
I look forward to seeing what they can do with the kind of jetpack stuff. That looks like it's, that's going to take a lot of the potential, like later in the game, sort of the laborious walking around trying to get somewhere, and all that kind of driving around, your Sparrow goes away because, man, I'm just going to fucking fly over everything. This is awesome. So yeah, I think and is it Destiny was set like these small, beautiful looking little worlds, just a little bit of each planet, really. If they're talking about one big open world. Now I'm sure you'll get sort of teleported off to different instances and some other stuff and bits, but yeah, how large will this open world be? It looks definitely really interested. Love to know more. I kind of definitely willing to give it a crack, so yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Well,
probably run like. No,
sorry,
carry on. I was just going to say.
Go on.
I was going to say I'm not confident about how it'll work on my Xbox One S if I don't buy a Scorpio.
I think they're banking that people will upgrade because I wonder what hits you're going to have to take to make that work on the earlier hardware. Yeah. But no, that takes us to the end of Xbox. Well, I think we're going to run a little bit long, but we're going to keep this as close to the hour as possible. But to give me your final thoughts on the Xbox conference and where you were left at the end of it.
Right. So we said it in our prediction show. What I was really looking for was a killer IP to nail it. So I came out of this thinking, right, I need to buy a Scorpio, and I didn't think they hit the mark. They showed a lot of games. They showed a lot of indie games, I would say. Sort of those, not the AAA titles. I mean, there are a couple of AAAs thrown in there, but nothing that we weren't too surprised about. So, and then the price was kind of like, ooh, I really think they, sure, it may cost them that much to make it, but Microsoft can afford to sell this stuff at a loss. They make their money on the software anyway. They make their money on the live subs, the Game Pass, that kind of thing. So I'm surprised they did. If they really wanted to, take a good stab at Sony, they should have matched the price of the PS4 Pro, I reckon.
That's a fair assessment. I'm not particularly different. I mean, there was a couple of surprises in there, like Metro, but it's not an exclusive. I think for the most part, we predicted a lot of what was going to be shown. Sadly, Anthem blew its load at EA, which means that wasn't a surprise at the end. Because you imagine how powerful that had been if that was a surprise and had come out of nowhere. But sadly, it didn't. So for the big show close like that, it wasn't as powerful as it could have been. Though it was still amazing. I was left a bit underwhelmed, and I think it's a massive misstep on that price. And it's gonna bite it, man. We'll see with Sony tonight how hard Sony kick it into them. But I suspect, knowing Sony's track record, they will go vicious for it.
Yeah. I think Sony at the very least will announce some price drop of their Slim, PS, at least to match the Xbox One S now. But there's still time. I don't know if Microsoft may decide that they will cut the price before launch. So I'd
be shocked.
They've got time to react to it.
I'd be surprised.
Like grabbing my mic now.
yeah, he wants to join in. I get it. But right, so let's go on to Bethesda. There's a lot less at Bethesda, so this shouldn't take too long. The first thing I want to mention Bethesda, what's pretty cool in a way, but also a little bit underwhelming, is that everything they showed is out this year. Which meant there wasn't a lot of forward focused sort of stuff down the line. Everything seems to be just around the corner, and none of it was a massive surprise or got me super hyped. But let me just run through it. They opened up with a couple of bits of VR stuff. They showed Fallout 4 VR, which we already knew about, and I just sort of Fallout 4's fine, but I don't care about that in VR particularly. And then they showed a really irreverent, really funny Doom VFR, and I think you can guess what the F stands for. Which I think is hilarious, and I would love to play a Doom game in VR. Game of last year for me, by a long way, my game of the year. And it makes me want a VR system just to play it. It just looked like a blast. When that music kicks in and the action starts going, I want to be in that. I want to be playing that.
Yeah, that looked. I've watched a bit more of the footage again today, just to get a double take on it and stuff. Yeah, it looks like they've got some cool features, a bit of time dilation to help you aim and target a little bit. It's sort of this teleporting to help you skip around, it looked like. So yeah, I'm quite surprised. A lot of people have kind of had a lot of trouble doing full FPSs in VR due to motion sickness and other disorientation, and just the fact that it's just too doesn't seem to really work. Many people have dipped their toes in but not gone with it, but looks like Bethesda have given it a crack. So this could certainly I'd love to give it a try. It might be.
You could almost see the marketing Doom as, this is the most intense VR experience. Yeah, you're gonna blow chunks, but you won't care because it's so awesome and in your fucking face. So I can almost see them as using that as marketing, which I think would be hilarious. After that, we got the inevitable ESO trailer, which started with them showing this video of a bunch of influencers and YouTube people getting hype for the CGI trailer. And I'm just tweeting there, guys, I'm reviewing this right now. I can tell you the game is nothing like this fucking trailer. It's a lovely trailer, but it's a complete fantasy. And it's just oh no, they're going to kill the bear. No, it's not even in the game. Shut up. Why are you showing this? And it's out already. I mean, what is the point? But the game is fine. I actually quite enjoy my time in Morrowind right now. The review will be out in the next couple of days. But I was just sort of well, sure, this is just why is it? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this, guys? What's going on? It felt very obligatory, didn't it? It was there because it had to be.
I think they were just trying to, we have a community and, we've got live streamers and that kind of stuff. It all felt like, it just felt cringe-worthy watching it, but cringe-worthy comedy at the same time. It's oh my God, this is awful. I can't believe you're doing this. But then it's I'm laughing at it because I can't believe you're doing this.
I'm wondering, I think there was a level of self-awareness to it, but I wonder how much.
Massively. With their whole Bethesda theme park thing, I think they were purposely being very cheesy, weren't they?
Yes. After that, we got the Creation Club, which started off with me. My initial thoughts was, oh, this is cool. This is basically a way of reducing the time for a product to get released in the DLC pipeline by bringing it as mods. And then I realized, actually, no, this is just a way of monetizing mods, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And creators, top flight mod creators deserve to get reimbursed for their work. How do you feel about paid for mods, Joel?
So did you are aware that this is almost like their second take at it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they tried to do something with Steam, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and the first thing that went wrong with Steam was that a lot of Skyrim mods and things that you end up the most popular ones are like a packaging of about 40 or 50 different sub mods and things that HD texture packs, better looking water, all these different things. And what they ended up having was people without the rights to any of this stuff, basically packaging it up, shoving it on there. It's kind of all moderating and then charging people for it and making money off other people's works without permission and stuff. So that's where that all kind of started going wrong for them.
That went wrong really quick as well, didn't it?
Yeah, incredibly quick.
From up to pulled.
Yeah. At least, and in fair play, I don't, criticize people for making mistakes, but when you recognize it and turn around and try and do it, fair play, that's good. And now this looks like they're trying to moderate it. They're trying to sort of add more value by saying it's it's for people who work now directly with them, very specific cherry picked sort of mod creators and stuff. It's all new stuff apparently, nothing that they've currently got. But yeah, it kind of feels like it's like, they've gone back to the drawing board. They've brainstormed a bit more and thought, how can we get this paid mods thing in? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Some people out there, some fans out there put a lot of passion into this sort of stuff, and if they can make some money from it, then sure, why not? Just needs to make sure that all the terms are fair, and also on the other flip side, it's going to be a safer place for people to get mods in some sense, because it's all going to be quality controlled. It should have been tested. You've got guarantees that it's going to work. It's not going to corrupt your save game, or you're not going to end up with problems and incompatibility with other mods. So it should solve a lot of those problems. But yeah, it's still kind of like, let's wait and see. Let's see how it, they were kind of a bit light on some of the detail. So let's see how they flesh it out and what it actually does become, because there is some scope for them to go like full Emperor Palpatine on it and like make it right absolutely evil. Or they could do the good thing. So
next up in what seemed to be another obligatory segment was, by the way, guys, did you know there's an Elder Scrolls card game called Legends that exists? Oh, you didn't? Well, it does. And there's going to be a Skyrim expansion for it. And I don't care, because the only card game I've ever had any fun with on a console is Gwent. And frankly, that's where my interest will be staying. So unless you wanted to add anything else, Joel, I will move us on.
No, carry on.
Cool. So the next thing was, hey, remember when they were showing those early footage of the Switch? They had Skyrim on it. Well, that's actually happening, and it will be coming out. And this is Skyrim on the Switch. Oh, and you're going to get to play as Link with the Master Sword in the Switch version. I don't give a crap.
If you've got the Amiibo, though, which is like, they thought, it's one of the, I don't know if they even make that specific one anymore. So, that's the barrier to entry is actually owning the Amiibo to get the things to start with.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's going to sell real well on eBay. I wish I did own it. I would have get 5 times the price for it right now. And then we got, famously, I'm not a massive Dishonored fan. I've had problems with both of those games. Neither of them have grabbed me. We have a new Dishonored, sort of. It seems to be standalone DLC using the Dishonored 2 engine, focusing on characters from the original Dishonored. So these are 2 of the subsidiary characters, side characters from the original Dishonored, and it's called Death of the Outsider, where these 2 guys are these 2 characters, not guys, one's a lady, and they're going to go and try and find the Outsider, who's caused a lot of problems in the Dishonored universe, especially at the end of Dishonored 2, and they're going to try and kill him. They're going to take him out. They're going to take out the Outsider, which is cool, I guess. I can't say I was excited, but fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dishonored 2's not been out that long. It was out earlier this year, and maybe it's nice they're trying to do something a bit different in the universe, but maybe a bit too soon. It's kind of my feeling about it. I've still not got around to playing the second one yet, so okay. It's just going further on my backlog.
Yeah, I mean, so it's okay. It's got some cool stuff. I think it's an art style you either enjoy or you don't. I fall on the side of not liking it so much. But I know a lot of people really dig that universe and the art and those characters and the powers and stuff. I think it's kind of like a modern Thief thing. I've never connected that strongly to Thief either, so I don't know. After that, we got the a little bit of a segment on Quake Champions, which was a case of like, hey guys, you remember this was like Fragfest and stuff. This was one of the original esports. Well, guess what? We are going to make it an esport again. We're going to get prize pool. We're going to have a big championship for Quake Champions. And it was just a kind of a nostalgia thing for me. Like, oh god, I remember putting dozens of hours into this game when I, back in high school and stuff on the LAN and things like that, and just fragging everybody and having loads of fun, especially in Quake 3. And yeah, cool, good for you guys. Good luck with that esport attempt. It's not easy to make a game into an esport nowadays. So bring it on. Why not? Get the fragging going. Anything?
No, it just I played a bit of Quake. I spent a lot of time modding Quake when I was a lot younger. I played Quake 3 Arena quite a bit as well. Quake 2, yeah, they were good fun shooters. It was good crack multiplayer and things. But yeah, I might play it a little bit, but I'm not going to get into an esports scene with it. And I kind of agree. It'll be interesting to see how big it does grow, because obviously there's large, FIFA's the massive one, like the virtual leagues and stuff they pull off in FIFA. And now that's evolving into having football clubs who are going to actually have their own esports teams and stuff. And there'll be this whole virtual Premier League. And, that's going to be huge. And then on the other side, you've kind of got the Counter-Strikes and the Rainbow Six Siege style things. They're not so big, but you can see that there is something there. And you've also got the Overwatches and the MOBAs and that kind of stuff. So yeah, where's it going to fit in?
The MOBAs are the big ones. Yeah.
The
big ones. I mean, I think what you're saying is there you've got the shooters that are the first person shooter type esports stuff, which are quite simmy, quite strategic shooters. And then you've got like the MOBAs and the RTSs, and then maybe Overwatch has carved it out. But Blizzard is so big they can do what they like. So yeah, where Quake Champions fits with its arcadey rapid type of gameplay, I'm not sure, but I'm excited to see if it does well, because I'd much rather watch Quake played than I would Counter-Strike. So that's just me.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on the other side. Like I actually do quite enjoy watching a bit of Rainbow Six Siege is the one I like watching. That's hence why I mentioned it, just because it's very team play, very oriented. So it's great to see people who just people in their rooms talking military language. They're all really coordinated, organized, just sort of creeping through. And yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. So
I don't know. I'd rather watch a 0G 180 no scope railgun shot across the map, nailing somebody's face onto the wall, than I would somebody going through a wall with a shotgun, I suppose. But that's just me. We differ. That's what makes us great, Joel. People have different things that they love. So let's move on. We've got 2 more games. And at this point, Bethesda has brought us no surprises and everything we predicted. And that's not going to change. So we got The Evil Within 2. Looked creepy. I mean, lots of atmosphere, slightly overblown, long-winded trailer using multiple different covers of the same song throughout. I can't remember the song, but you'd know it if you listen to it. I haven't played The Evil Within, but I might do now, because that looked pretty cool. What did you think?
Yeah, it looks okay. It's probably something I might give a try, but I've got so many other, the problem with this show is you just come out with like so many different games you want to try. You try to order them all. It's certainly not near the top of my list at the moment.
That's fair enough. Let's move on to one that should be at the top of your list. Now, did you tell me the other day you had only played the first level of the new Wolfenstein?
Only played the first level of the new Wolfenstein, the kind of plane crash beach landing level.
The crappy level. Did watching this very strange trailer make you more interested in playing some more of that game?
Yes. Yeah. I thought some of the gameplay they showed did look genuinely quite fun and looked like it had a really good feel to it and stuff. Yeah, just the craziness of the story. I like the setting as well. I really thought the bit in the kind of ice cream parlor, milkshake parlor, the kind of. I think they kind of really tried to go for a bit of an Inglourious Basterds kind of scene with that guy coming in. That's what it made me reminded me of.
Yes. So this is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus we're talking about. And again, much expected to be here. at the show this year. The trailer, I think, was intentionally discordant. It was made to make you feel uncomfortable. It was cut in a very strange way. It was a lot of, I think, trying to make you as confused and lost in the world as the main character is meant to feel. So for that reason, I think it was quite brave, though whether or not it worked, I don't know. If you're looking for a more straightforward video game trailer, this is not it. It actually doesn't show a great deal of gameplay. It doesn't explain how BJ has got to this situation, especially considering the end of the first game, but I won't spoil it for Joel. Yeah, and then we got a bit of the gameplay, the dual wielding, the action first-person shooter elements. But yeah, the setting is this Nazi-controlled United States, and Wolfenstein has never been set in the States before. So there's some interesting visuals that are here. There was one point I remember seeing a Nazi putting his arms camaraderie around a couple of Klansmen. And it was like, this is really uncomfortable to see and pretty awful. And then another bit where, the officer is complimenting you on your Aryan looks. And it's just like, oh, this is going to be a very uncomfortable experience. And the fact that this isn't just a throwaway first-person shooter with a pulpy setting, and they're actually going to try and talk about some serious societal issues here. At one point, BJ's trying to convince a resistance cell leader to rise up and fight. And he's like, I've got kids in the way. I don't want them living in this world. And it's just like, you can't really get more personal and also sort of politically relevant right now than statements like that. And I feel like Bethesda, with all their products, to be fair, aren't afraid of shying away from some uncomfortable subject matter. So I think I'm excited as all hell to play that. I mean, it's not as action-packed, Joel, as Doom. It's not as that sort of relentlessly push forward aggressive first-person shooter. There's actually some really good stealth mechanics in the new Wolfenstein game, and it looks like that'll be in the new Colossus as well. But I'm definitely excited. That game a few years ago was one of the first main reasons to get a next-gen system. It really, really put them on the map, made you stand up and take notice of modern Bethesda. So it looked cool as all hell. I'm really hyped for that. It should be really good. And it's all this year. All these games are this year.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it as well. So I obviously need to play the first one.
I'd say out of all your backlog, that should be near the top. Like, honestly, it's quite a lengthy campaign. But if you put it on medium difficulty or whatever, you should get through it in about, I'd say, like 15 hours, something like that. Kind of like Doom. It's longer than you think it's going to be, which is in a good way, though. It doesn't get boring. So I'm going to
install it. I'm installing it now. It's there. There you go. There we go. It's off.
Good man. Right, so that brings us to the end. A little bit longer than intended. 45 minutes time. I will be live tweeting the Ubisoft conference, and then that's at 9 p.m. this evening. And then at 2 a.m. this morning, it will be Sony. And then I think it's 5 o'clock tomorrow is Nintendo, which then brings us to our final one of these episodes, special bonus babbles for E3. That'll be tomorrow at 7 o'clock, where we go through those three conferences. Please head over to bxbgames.co.uk to see all the write-ups. All the trailers are in there, and trust me, that takes some effort to do that. So please look at those. That really helps the traffic, the following. I know we've got some live viewers right now, so I'm talking to you. If you haven't done it already, go to bxbgames.co.uk, check out the content. Also, follow us on Twitter, like I said, for the live tweeting. I'll try to keep the snark to a minimum, but trust me, the snark was heavy at 5 a.m. doing Bethesda, especially as the thing lasted 40 bloody minutes. And I'm sat there going, why did I get up? Why am I here for this? So hopefully Ubisoft, one of my favorite conferences every year, will be a good one, and we'll bring back the optimism in my mind, and then we'll see Sony just annihilate Microsoft for their pricing, I suspect, at 2 a.m. Just annihilate them. Joel, anything you wanted to add before we say goodbye until tomorrow?
No. Sorry, I've not quite been focused as I wanted to be.
Well, it's fine. We had an extra contributor to the podcast. It's been great.
A third person in little Ellis here. So
who needs Richard when you've got little Ellis?
Say hello.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Say hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. I'm waving.
He's waving at you.
I'm waving at you. Yeah, man. So with that slightly different end to a podcast, I say goodbye for the 5th episode of Bxb'S Bonus Babble, and I'll see you all tomorrow and on the Twitters tonight. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.